Well, welcome back inside the coaches room. I'm Petey again, and a really special guest here today at the Global Coaches Clinic for the NHL Coaches Association, the executive director of the NHL Coaches Association, Lindsay Pennal. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me on.
This is exciting, Lindsay, because I was here following your trajectory and your career path as you transitioned into the NHLCA. I want to talk to you first about this clinic. And what it means, not just to the NHL Coaches Association, but to coaches in general across North America. What is your purpose for this clinic, and how did it really come about?
Well, I can't talk about how the clinic first started because when I joined the association 9 seasons ago, it was already taking place, albeit in a much smaller, maybe a little more chaotic format. And so I think when I came into the association for the beginning of the 2016-17 season, that was really it, with my then colleague, Mike Hirschfeld at the time, we really wanted to make our Global Coaches Clinic a flagship global event. And so we really leveled it up, I think, for that first one that was under our purview, which took place in Chicago at the 2017 NHL draft. It's wild thinking back to how many years ago that was. But really, we wanted to create a moment and an event for coaches across all levels, from across North America, from Europe, wherever you are in the world, to come together and to learn from our NHL coaches, but also just connect with each other and share ideas and try to move the sport forward in a way that's just best for everybody, for coaches, for players, for families, every sort of part of the hockey ecosystem. So really, we're here today continuing to do that. And year over year, it's grown. Last year when we were at the draft in Las Vegas, we had over 750 coaches there. A little bit smaller this year with the decentralized version, but still over 400 hockey coaches from across North America. So it's just going to be a really good day.
And I do want to explain what happens here. It's not just a guy getting up to a podium and talking for a half hour. So explain how these coaches are getting their education and how close they're getting to these NHL and American League coaches.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do was sort of provide two streams through which you could learn. One is a keynote presentation, right? So an NHL coach standing at a podium or behind his laptop on Zoom, which we did this year, the virtual presentations, teaching something, whether it's defenseman skills or breakout strategies or whatever it is. So that's sort of learning method one. The second way to learn is through what we're doing here today in Toronto, is all of these small group breakout sessions that are NHL coach led, where really it's just a round group of 10 coaches talking hockey, asking questions of our NHL coaches, sharing ideas and learning that way.
And I'd say this firsthand because it's impressive. Like what we're saying, it's like you get a one-on-one and you can ask this coach literally anything. Like, how do you do this system, or how do you handle this type of player, or how do you handle this type of situation? So from a learning aspect, for a coach that's coaching 15-year-old kids, all the way to those that are in the American League. And I've seen a lot of American League coaches here that are here to learn, that are not just here as a speaker. So I think that one-on-one connection here really helps what's happening in this coaching community. You really see that community getting tight. But I do want to ask you next, Lindsay, is how the heck do you get to be the executive director of the NHL Coaches Association? What is your path to get you here doing this today?
I ask myself that every morning. Yeah. How did I get here?
Exactly.
Because I'm a self-proclaimed math nerd. Like, I went to business school. I wanted to work on Bay Street in finance. And that's what I did for the first 10 years of my career. I was essentially in the investment industry, always in marketing and business development and communications, in 4 very small entrepreneurial companies. Small, I mean, staff-wise, big in the sense of we managed billions of dollars. But after about 10 years, I kind of was looking for what was next. Like, I wasn't having my passion ignited yet, and I needed to figure out where that was. So I decided to leave my nice, stable banking job and find what could be next for me. That led to a move actually to California.
Wow.
I moved to Silicon Valley and I started consulting for a tech company there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But as a backup plan, never put your eggs in one basket. I put it out to my network back in Toronto that I was looking for consulting work and really in different industries, because I wanted to get my hands onto as many different projects or companies as I could to figure out like what was interesting to me. And through a former colleague from my business days, Mike Hirschfeld, he reached out to me out of the blue and said, hey, I'm going to be taking over the NHL Coaches Association as our executive director. Can you help me build this? And that was in the fall of 2016. I was like, sure. I never played hockey growing up, never coached. But I know how to run a business and how to build a business. And so the two of us did that together for the first 7 years. And, it was Mike's time to transition on. He had a great opportunity to go be in the Professional Women's Hockey League that was just getting started a couple seasons ago. And I guess I'd done a good job because I got elected by our constituents, our NHL coaches, into the role of executive director. And here we are just wrapping up my second season at the helm of the ship.
I want to say, because I was a part of the NHLCA for that time. And I tell you what, you and Michael, what you were able to do to transform what it is today, it's phenomenal. Like I can't tell you how appreciative people are on the other side of the podium. Like, this changed what the NHLCA was all about, and what you guys were able to do to make us real, make us a real community. Was hats off to you, because it's really impressive. And it's a lot of work to herd these cats. And hey, coaches, by the way, NHL coaches can be difficult at times. So it's hard to herd all these cats, and you've done an outstanding job getting what you have done here. So I want to talk about the initiatives. What are some of the things that the NHLCA is really focused on, and what you're trying to do?
Yeah. Well, I'll start by saying thank you for that compliment, first of all. It is like herding cats, but they're willing cats. Like, what I found when we came in to sort of take over and formalize the association is that everybody wanted that connection. Like, they were primed for it. There just wasn't any organized way. And so, we had buy-in pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And when we took over, in the fall of 2016, there's only 44% membership. We've been at 100% every single year since that, because coaches see the value that we're adding. So there's a lot that we do. I think from the public facing side, a lot of our work is around inclusivity in coaching. So we have our female coaches program and our BIPOC coaches program that are trying to help underrepresented coaches get a foot in the door, get them the skills, soft skills, and the on ice skills that they need to be ready to step behind the bench in the AHL or in the NHL one day. We have this clinic annually that we hold usually at the NHL draft. We'll see what 2026 holds. So that's a big one too for our massive coaching community to come back. But what we sort of started doing when we said, okay, we want to help educate coaches and we want to connect them to our NHL coaches. One of the first things we actually did was partner with the NHL around the Global Series game and go over to Europe with some of our between job NHL coaches. So guys that had just been fired, it's a volatile industry. They found themselves out of work that fall, and we bring them over to Sweden or Finland or Germany or Czechia, wherever the Global Series games were. And we run coaching conferences over there with those federations and start to build our networks over there too, to build the interconnectedness between North American hockey and European hockey too. And so, oh my gosh, we've been doing that since 2017 and have a huge European following now because of sort of those coaching initiatives that we've been doing. Now, obviously, we can't be flying back and forth to Europe every week to do the hands-on coaching development that's required to maintain those relationships. So just before the pandemic, we set up what's called the NHLCA Mentorship Program. And it is a free webinar series. It runs concurrent to the NHL season, so October through May. And they're webinars led by our NHL coaches, our AHL coaches, special guest presenters, and they're all around any topic that you could think of that as a coach you need to know.
That is so free?
Free.
So I know I'm preemptively doing this because I didn't know about that. So we're going to make sure we get the link from Lindsay, and we'll drop the link in the description. So if people want to get involved and learn more about the game of hockey, this is a great tool to do because you get to pick the brains of the people that really do this.
And so we just wrapped up our 6th season of running this mentorship program. There's now over 80 free webinars, and these are coaches you want to hear from. Like, it's Bruce Cassidy talking about his career journey, like what you can be doing, how he got into the league. It's Jared Bednar, it's Mike Sullivan. Like, these are, big name coaches who have been around for decades. It's also guys you wouldn't necessarily even know about, video coach for a team.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like what their role is and that entry point into the NHL as a career option for some people, or the tools and technology that they're using in their roles at the pro level and how you could apply that at whatever level you're at, minor hockey or major junior. So yeah, it's a great resource. And again, it's completely free. So anybody should be checking it out. Parents, players,
this
coaches.
was worth it, Lindsay. Just this conversation alone is going to help people because people want to learn hockey. People want to know more about the sport that they love to either coach in or watch. They want to be involved. So thank you for that. We've got to get people tuned into that too. But I do want to, you mentioned something about coaches that were out of work. And this particular time of year, it's really volatile. I mean, it's a tough time of year for a lot of coaches. How does the NHL Coaches Association support those coaches that might have just come off the coaches?
I'll start by saying coaches have chosen a tough profession. Like, that saying you're hired to be fired, that is so true. And I don't know if this is the most volatility we've seen in the postseason for coaches getting turned over, but there's certainly been what feels to be an unprecedented amount of turnover. And so it's a challenging time, right? Whether you see it coming or you don't see it coming, being let go is always challenging. And so the role our association plays for our members, whether they're employed or unemployed, is a resource. And that's very broad or wide reaching, but it's a resource for whatever they need. Are they concerned about where their health insurance is going to come from now that they're not on the team's health insurance anymore? Okay, we can help with that. Are you having to relocate from Canada to the US back home because you now don't have a job in that market? Great, we can help take care of that. So it's really everything and anything that a coach needs, and walking them through that process and being there to hold their hand through it all. And then helping them prepare for their next job, right? Are they interviewing already? Great. Do they have their resume and their deck ready to go? Do they know what their comparables are, right? When they're going in to take those jobs, like, are they ready and prepared to negotiate? So it's sort of everything from, you're kicked out the door of one team to walking in the door of the next team. And then through that season, we try to be there for them.
And I think it's funny because I think most people think, wow, these coaches, they know everything. They manage their team, they manage their day-to-day life. But it is those questions that they don't know. And to be honest, I've been part of that carousel where I was unfortunately out of work for a while. And the resources I looked for was, some financial things. And they have the pension help that you get and health insurance things. And all of those questions that you honestly don't know because you haven't been through it before. And I think as a coaches association, you never had that safety net of who do I call and where do I go, even if it's not you. I think the Coaches Association and what you've done is given them a resource. Where do I go?
Well, and one thing we've really stepped up in the past year as well is getting more feedback from our coaches. Like, when you are let go, what do you feel initially? Like, you're rudderless. You feel rudderless and at sea and alone. So we partnered with some business coaches who have done some sessions on what coaches should be doing when you first find yourself out of work, right? Because it's your world just sort of got turned upside down. You're used to being in such a routine and a schedule, and then that's ripped away from you. It can be a bit disorienting to find your feet. So we've stepped it up a lot, I think, in the past year or two in terms of having third parties who are available to talk to our coaches and counsel them through and give them some guidance as they're navigating that transition.
I think it's fantastic, and I've said that before. Your job, every chance I get, I blow your horn, and Michael Hirschfeld too, because that really is when things change. And I want to wrap up with this conference and the value to a coach. And I know for me, there's a lot of coaches that I'm coaching a younger youth team, and I think this is probably way over my head, and I shouldn't be here, and I'm intimidated by the crowd. What's the comfort level of a person that's just learning the game of hockey?
Oh my gosh. Our NHL coaches were in those shoes. That's where they started. Nobody just went from being 18 years old to being a head coach in the NHL. That's not the career path, right? They've been through those leagues. They've been in those shoes. So there's no intimidation factor anyone should feel walking in here, because if there's anything I learned in my 9 seasons with the NHLCA is that coaches love sharing. They love connecting. They just want to talk hockey. So we've set up a forum for them to do that, and seeing it all come together and just be such a great day here. I have goosebumps just seeing it all happen.
It is.
So
it is fun, and for me, it's that camaraderie that hockey people just have.
Yeah,
and they where no matter where you're from in North America or around the world, and these NHL coaches, everybody's just talking hockey. This is unbelievable.
Just talking hockey.
And I know next year is a long way off, and I know you're not prepared. You don't even know where this is going to be a year from now, but as it starts to approach, make sure we want to get links here again and get people, hey, come on, check this out. Like, it's an opportunity to really sit and have a cup of coffee with a guy that's been there and they're willing to talk to you. So make sure that as this goes on, make sure you reach out to us so we can get the word.
Definitely. And check out the website, NHLcoaches.com, because all of our free resources out there, and any information as soon as we have it for where the 2026 Global Coaches Clinic will be up there one day soon, I hope.
Well, Lindsay, thanks so much for joining us inside the coach room. I can't tell you how great a job you're doing and how wonderful it is to see this is it's buzzing with hockey, and I love it. So thanks again for taking the time.
My pleasure. Let's go talk some hockey now.
Yeah, let's go.